is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Wild earnings day last night. We'll get into all of that. I see you guys are piling into the room. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Andy, good morning. Bill, Brian Reppel, good morning. Eric S. is joining us. Good morning to Jeffrey J. Jeremy, good morning. Jill, JT, Kevin Stone's going to rock with us. Martina, Sebastian, good morning. We got Tina, Wally, all my peeps out there at YouTube land. Good morning to you. I got Daniel. I got Liza in YouTube land. Anthony, good morning to you. All the lurkers just hanging out, chilling in the background, not making any comments. It's okay. I still love you. Just hit that like and subscribe buttons. Tina's in the house. Good morning, Tina. We got, Jill's piling in. Oh, we got the squadron in the house now. Now we ready to rock. All right, so let's see what happens. So we got SPY gap down because they gave us 2 bullish days in a row. I mean, were you expecting were you expecting anything else? I don't know. But we got a little bit of a gap down. I'm looking at support, which is going to be a little bit weaker. So I'm looking at support right now, 421.03, but you can already see we did retest that yesterday. So do we get another bounce there? Maybe, maybe not. I have one other support, 421.41. Again, that was also retested yesterday as well. So not a lot to hold us up here if that can't hold. So if 420.96 cannot hold, probably just by human nature, we probably look at like 420.46. That's going to be extremely weak at that point. We'd have to look at probably 419.57. That's just where Monday opens. That's the only reason that might hold, but I mean, again, it's going to be weak. And then that takes us down to the magic number, and that one, again, we already pushed into that one time. If we start to break that, things can get ugly. So there is some support. I mean, on the good side of things, we do have support below us. How strong that support is, though, I don't know. Then we have the 200 above us, so that's going to be some kind of resistance. That's at 426.17. Before we even get to any of that, I've got one more resistance at 422.54, 423.74. Another one, which again, this one has been retested, 424.47. And if we could get past 424.47, maybe we could get into that 200 if we're bullish. My assumption, my thought would be this is a gap and go, probably looking to lean bearish where we can. We'll take a look at some of those individual companies that did report. Some of those guys, I'm looking at thinking Google right off the top of my head. They're already kind of into some kind of support already. But yeah, I would accept a little bit more chop to the bearish side today. Again, we're gonna have some bulls wanting to really defend this 418.32 zone. I don't even think the bulls want it to get down there, so we play with fire again. I don't think they want that. So that maybe they come in stronger at this 421, but even with that, plenty of resistance now above us. We do have all moving averages above us as well, so it's gonna be a battle. I think we're gonna have a battle today. Qs. Eric, I see you raised hand. I don't know if you have a question. It's just stretching, doing your early morning yoga, maybe. I'm not sure, but if you have a question, you can just type it out to that chat pane. The Qs gap down again, so that's automatically going to add us to a little bearish feel to the market. The one thing I think the bulls have going for them, at least on the Qs, is even though this is a gap down, right? So there's how we open here, we close here, we're gapping underneath all of that opening price range. We've been here before. Again, I do have a couple levels right over here on Qs. Those levels, I got 2 of them specifically, but 356.45 and then 355.84. One thing I would say that the bulls have, maybe besides those 2 levels, is this is a gap and go, but it still was an inside day from this red candle. So we broke down. This was a retest gap. We did push a little bit further. We're about halfway through this range from the high of that candle to essentially where that trap came in. So that could give the bulls a little sentiment where we're not just jumping off a cliff today. Again, probably would add a little more chop. I do have 2 levels right here. I think if we start to break, if the bears really want to step in today, and we break 355.81. I mean, again, we have a few levels over here, but that's all been already hit, retested. We've done everything we possibly can to stay in those ranges, and I think the next spot for the Qs takes us to about 345.45. I don't know if that's a big move for today. It's a big move for today, so I'm not sure if we hit that one today or not. But I again, I'm looking at a little bit of potential chop. I can make a strong case where the bears really have to save this thing to keep it going down. I can see a case where the bulls really have to step in to push this thing back up. And you got good reasons as to why both of those can happen. But yeah, watch some of these 355.81 levels, and if they start to break, I think we could see a much deeper sell-off, and that it could happen today, although that would feel like a big one. So let's see what happens on the Qs. Let's go back to TLT. TLT. Now that one looks not great. Great close of the day yesterday. So good close, nice strong candle, good finish for the bulls. Every single one of them who was like, okay, this is it. Reversal, maybe double bottom-ish, but you're still making lower lows. You're making lower highs on this move. Okay. We're gonna need a higher low somewhere if this trend is gonna reverse. But good finish for the bulls. Unfortunately, today they wake up a little bit more sad than they went to sleep. We are below what's today? We're below Monday's VPOC, so look for resistance back at 84.35. And we have plenty of room to the downside on TLT, which would take us to about 83.22. That is a big move, and I think the markets will react off that. That's going to put all the KREs, all the regionals, anything tech, any company with debt back into a little bit of selling pressure for today as well. So we'll see. Yep. We do have some companies that did report. So we'll run through the list real quick. I just threw a bunch of them on the list. I see also Tesla coming in. You guys want to see Google, Lilly. We'll get to all those as well. But we did have Visa report yesterday. So that one actually looked good on earnings. They also did a $25 billion buyback program. It is not just for 1 year. It is extended time. So over the next few years, they will be buying back $25 billion worth of shares. That's positive for the markets. I heard somewhere else, like somebody say, yeah, we're tired of buybacks. Just give it out as dividends. I don't agree with that comment. I do like a good buyback. What I don't like, and this is where I will agree, is you're not far from all-time highs. Again, it's not, they're not saying they're coming in today and buying $25 billion back of their own shares, but you're not exactly at all-time lows on this company either. You're not getting killed. So if you start that program, and I didn't see the details of the program, but I prefer, yeah, at this level, I would agree. If you're sitting at all-time highs, this is not the time you want your companies to be buying back shares. You want them to be buying it back down here somewhere, right? Then we get up here, okay, issue those shares back, make some money. Not I mean, they did increase dividends too. So, I mean, they are just rolling in cash and they probably got nothing else to do with it at this point. But okay, get a more of a dividend out there. I think their dividend went up 15%, something like that. Fantastic. But it does look like they're trying everything possible to keep traders into this company. At this point, you got a pretty glaring head and shoulders. I think you're starting to get a little bit weakness, and earnings were good. Buyback was good. Dividends were good, but we still going to get that sell-off. So we are sitting at that 200. This is a gap and go. I don't think I'd be the first one to short this one, because we do have that 200. So if we start to break on Visa 230.55, okay, great. That would be probably my cue that we could go lower. we're down. We are down a decent amount so far. Nothing too crazy, but next stop would be 229. And if 229 breaks, I think that's us breaking the overall neckline, and there's not a lot to stop us till back to probably 223.60, and maybe we could see 218 again on Visa. But again, they threw the whole kitchen sink at it. They said we're gonna give investors as much great reasons to want to be in our stock, and they still sold off. So not a great sentiment, at least. And I think Visa, at least in the longer term, does drop a little bit more. That being said, they are flush with cash. They have a absolute ton of cash. Lucian says, I agree. Dividend and buybacks both have their place to be the best option. Yeah, I understand my case. I understand the case for dividends. I love dividends. Trust me. And especially the older you get, dividends are a great option, right? You just sit back. You don't have to sell your actual shares, make that a taxable event. I'd rather get taxed on the divvies and just, have it build up over time, buy back share. It makes sense. I like divvies, but also not at this spot, not at all-time highs. The same way I wouldn't want to get into Visa as an investment up here either, right? Lucian says, I get the impression that maybe trying to hedge against the impending bankruptcy issues that could arise for them with the potential economic issues. I don't think Visa's facing bankruptcy issues. At least not yet. I think Discover and American Express is much different than, I would say, even MasterCard and Visa. But yeah, I think Visa and MasterCard are much stronger. If anything was to happen, I think you have Discover go down first. Probably American Express. But yeah, I wouldn't. Stephen Wong says, would you sell calls against? Yes, I would absolutely sell calls. It would have obviously been better, Stephen, if you sold it prior to earnings, because you're going to get more premium. Now all the premium is going to be a little deflated, but I would still, if you're still holding it and it's a long-term position, absolutely, especially if you got in much lower. No, the losses they will face from individual bankruptcies. Yeah, maybe. I think we're still a little far out from that though. And guess what? Though, Lucian, you got a good bailout program here in the U.S. It's called Uncle Sam. I think they'll be all right. It's happened before. Boeing has a nice little gap up today. I really try really hard not to laugh as I was talking about this one, but surprise miss to the downside. Earnings per share down 7 cents, 2.48%. You got, surprise beat, $90 million extra revenue for the surprise side. The only real reason they're probably gapping is because they didn't even improve guidance, to be honest. All they did was just say the same guidance they had before and say, yeah, we look good. We're on track. But here you go. Here's a stock absolutely getting clobbered. No real bounce spot. You're getting a good little bounce. I do see we do have a moving average coming in right now. So we got to get through that one. That's going to sit at 188.88. Otherwise, I think next target is up to 190. Maybe we get to 191. And if we get past, I think 189.33, next stop on this one would be 191.27. Earnings weren't great. They weren't fantastic. Guidance, just reconfirm guidance. But this would be, I think this one actually acts a little bit more like a retest gap if we're actually looking at this chart. So here we have this was a gap up. This was a retest, even though we have a red candle. I think the market's going to look to sell this one at least initially. I'm not sure how far. I don't think we get all the way back down to 183 today. But I would be highly looking for support at 185.60. That would give you a better opportunity if you want to try to play this. But we have technically, even though it's a red day, it's technically just retest. It did close higher than we closed the day before. We were all inside of this. We've got decent volume here on this candle, so we're above all that. If we can come back down and retest this even 185.60, somewhere in that zone, I think that would be a good spot to try to play it. Stops would have to be, depends on how conservative you are, but you go 181.60, or if you want to be a little less or a little more conservative, 178.36. But you got Boeing there. Google, the Gooksters. I mean, all they had to do, I don't understand. I don't understand Google. All you have to do is just miss your earnings and you go up like Boeing. Come on, Google, get it together. Your AI people didn't tell you that. But they did have a surprise beat of a positive 6.49%. They also beat 737 million to the higher side and got absolutely mollywopped. Absolutely mollywopped. I am looking at very, very good support on Google, though. Right here at open 130.23. Earnings were not horrible. It does look like it was most likely priced to sell. We're not far off the all-time highs, and there's obviously some fear in this market. So the question is, can we hold that level? I would put this one, even though it is decent gap down, we do have some good support here. I'm looking at 128.03 should hold. Even if we take even if we take that as a stop, 120, let's go to 128 even, and let's go. It's got to be about 130.28, so about $2. Could we make $4 to the higher side? Yeah, I think so. Even though it seems wide, we could probably put like a $2 stop on Google. And I think this one, again, I don't know. The entire market's selling. That is maybe trapping some people. This would be a great candidate. I'm going to move this one up higher. I'm going to try to play the fade on this one, even though everything textbook wise tells me just to go short. But I'm going to try to play the retest on this one, see if I can get a red candle to come in, and then I'm going to attempt it just because I like that support a lot. It's a decent support to get a good bounce. We are not at the all-time highs. Nothing really bad on the earnings. Maloney says we may have a speaker elected at noon today. Yeah, I thought we were supposed to have that like 3 weeks ago. Is the government still open? Getting confused. All right, you guys looking for Tesla? Let's get to Tesla real quick. Tesla. And then we'll cover Microsoft as well. Tesla's gapping down about just under 50 cents for right now. We'll see. We still got 12 more minutes left. Kind of looks like the overall market, so I don't think anything is too crazy or exciting on Tesla for today. The one thing they do have going for them at this point is this is the third VPOC that's moved up in a row, so we do have a little bit of a bullish trend. How far is this trend going to push? I don't know. We also have a to the higher side. If we start to break yesterday's VPOC of 216.80 to the higher side, we've got 219.99. Again, that's also a level that has been broken. There's really nothing else up on Tesla until probably about 226.74. So maybe we get to that if we want to go bullish. We do have a pretty sweet looking hammer in there. If the rest of the market does not want to retest or go bullish or hold any of these supports, I don't see a real bullish case for Tesla though. So a little bit of indecision. We tried. Looks a little bit like a bull trap from yesterday. We're not able to close above this candle. We still have decent volume on that previous candle, which is Thursday, October 19th. So until that candle really starts to break out higher, then we could look at, okay, maybe a gap fill and probably pull back first and then gap fill, creating some kind of higher lows. But yeah, for a trade wise today, there's not much edge. You do have support on this one back to 213.88. So if you're going to try it and it fades first, look around that $214 range. If we come into 214, yeah, we can throw stops maybe at like 211, something to that case if we want to try it bullish. Otherwise, we do have that glaring bull trap from yesterday. Can we get past this to the downside? Of course we can. Of course we can if the markets want to continue to sell. So a little bit choppy on Tesla. It's not a huge great range yet. But out of the gate, I would expect a little bit more chop, and then maybe we get a good candle double bottom, something like that. But I would like that double bottom as close as possible to 214, or even down to like 213. So any of those two levels would be decent to try just for a purpose of risk to reward. And then we got to see if we could climb all the way back, which also won't be the easiest way to do that as well. So just kind of just on Tesla today. Lucian says, do you have any idea what the thought process is behind the new opposite reaction to earnings. It seems to be more than just guidance issues. I think it's absolutely fear of recession at this point. I think it's fear of continued rate hikes and keeping rate hikes longer than possible. Yep. I don't think the guidance is helping, to be honest. I mean, here's Microsoft. They did put out positive guidance, right? They beat on a lot of different fronts, including like their AI sector. Even I think OpenAI was doing good for them. Like they had a bunch of things that were positive in the report. Great looking gap up. So their surprise beat 12% earnings per share on Microsoft. Then you have a 3.66 beat on revenue. That looks like a fantastic gap. Do I think this holds? No, probably not. I want to say everything about this gap looks good and we probably continue to rise, but you are at a little bit of resistance. And I think the overall, again, it's, if you're looking at, to answer your question, if you're looking at the bond market, that's why I've been pulling up TLT a lot. No, I thought Sanjay, I thought Microsoft beat on cloud actually. Double check on that one. I could be wrong. I only looked quick yesterday and then I had a couple things to do. But double check that one. I thought their cloud actually beat. Which is why Amazon was starting to run too yesterday. But yeah, if you're looking at the bond market, the chaotic moves that is not supposed to be happening in the bond market, the way that the 10-year, the 20-year, the 30-year rates are starting to push, it's actually broadening out further, where they're pushing the bond market is telling us we do have a recession coming in probably 2024. And until that overall market sentiment starts to clear, it is most likely not the right time to buy stocks. Ron's in the house. What's up, Ron? So I think we're looking at a bigger macro concern where, okay, again, Microsoft had good guidance. We did get a good gap up. And yeah, in a normal market, I think this is probably something that runs bullish. What I would wait for a day trade on this one is we could get a green candle, 2 green candles, something like that. And then actually probably play the fade on this one because we've just been in a sell the rip market. And until I think we see some of those real macros start to change and we actually get maybe a trend on TLT running, we can get those bonds a little less inverted, that might be a good, like, okay, now the water is starting to look decent. Monthly is about 1% APY better than long-term on average lately. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see how that market plays out, because for right now it's still predicting. And again, you look at the airlines, right? Some of these airlines, you're back to you're not back to COVID levels. You're back to 2008. I mean, yeah, flights were flying in 2008, but how many people were traveling? And I think the markets right now are kind of looking at going, you know what? The consumer might actually run out of money. The consumers might actually be running out of some money in 2024. I don't know about the student loan thing. I think that's supposed to be, I don't know if they're still halted or not as far as payments from what they did during COVID and all that stuff. But I think it was November. People are supposed to start paying their student loans back. That's not going to be helpful for people who need, and then you still have gas pretty high. You're looking at inflation. That's why I said November 14th is going to be a big date. That's the next CPI report. If that number comes in hot, that I think to me will be the cue that the market's going to take of, you know what, we might not have inflation under control. And that's just kind of that last nail in the coffin. And that I think will start to take us down pretty heavy in the market. So that's CPI day on, and if it comes in light, I think that gives the market a little bit of a breather. But if that number comes in hot on November 14th, I think the markets start to get a little bit more wrecked. So that's going to be a big day for the markets. But yeah, you're back down to 2008 levels on some of these airlines where, I mean, we were holding even $12 on AAL for a while. That's starting to come down further. And that's telling me that there's some real concerns about probably the next 12 months in this market. PayPal, greatest stock in the world though for PayPal. Yep, gapping into 52-week lows. 52-week lows. Yep, PayPal. We're gonna be in it. We're gonna be in it for a while. The company is good. The economy, not so much. But yeah, this is a 52-week lows. This one probably heads lower today. So if you do want to, if you're in the 10K growth group and you want to day trade, to kind of make it, make some money back on the day trades, that would be a short probably. I don't see anything really holding this thing back. So looking for a PayPal short would make a lot of sense to me. I like that gap a lot. Obviously, we've been in a bearish trend. We're coming down. All those moving averages are still above us. For day trade purpose, yeah, I wouldn't mind going short PayPal. Let's actually move that up. That looks like, unfortunately, looks like one of the better gaps today. Started dipping my toe. And I mean, longer term, it's fine. If you're buying a few shares here and there, just some of these really beat up companies, there's nothing wrong with it, as long as you don't have an immediate need for the cash like tomorrow or next week or next month. But picking up some shares here and there could make sense. We're probably still very early. Again, if you're buying shares now and November 14th comes out light, yeah, you're probably going to get a rally and you're going to look good on all those that you picked up. We did see a lot of earnings on like Coca-Cola. We've seen it on 3M yesterday. Coca-Cola's earnings look absolutely outstanding. They look incredible. I think they're growing like 8 for a company the size of Coca-Cola. They're growing 8% year over year right now. That's fantastic. They still got dividends. They still look good. So there's companies that are still making money and still doing very well. But the question is, and that was one that got kind of wrecked and beat up this year. So there's definitely some opportunities, but so far the markets are not being very nice to the bulls. We'll put it that way. Snapchat. So Snapchat actually beat on earnings per share. They also beat on revenue. This market was pricing this one crazy. They're pricing about $1.80 for expected move on this thing. You did get a good gap up. We were sitting at about 25% gains yesterday on Snapchat. They gave it all back, and this was still kind of running down. They only beat by like really 2 cents. Like they were supposed to lose 4 cents, and they beat by 2. But they should have a decent short. So if you're a trader that likes short squeezes, Snapchat would be your one for today for that. So I do have that on the list. We'll run through those as the market opens, but we only got like 40 seconds left. I think I missed one stock, LLY, Eli Lilly. Let me look at that one real quick. You do have a little bit of a gap up. This should be a retest gap. See if you get a quick pullback on this one down to like 593.03. Otherwise, first target would be about 602.75. And then major resistance is about 606. But I think you probably get a little pullback, which would set you up for a bullish play on that one. Netflix could be a nice fade down. Yes, still at the high end of yesterday's candle. We do got a little bit of resistance right there. That would be an interesting one to watch. If you start to really break this level, get a couple, like even a 2-minute candle that holds essentially past 416.09, which right now it looks like it. You could actually play that long with plenty of room to the upside, 434. But this would be your third day in a row kind of pushing green. So we will see. Everybody out there in YouTube land, appreciate you joining us each and every day. You guys are absolutely incredible. Keep in mind, you guys are more than welcome to join us. We do this like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Just check out reallifetraining.com. Also, a lot of free education classes. It costs you like $0. It's a free 99 course. So make sure you guys check those out as well. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys